Chapter 42. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It has to be said that the effect of personal treatment is much better than the previous treatment methods. With Lin Tianci's efforts, the coldness in Qingtan's body is also decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye, and Qingtan's originally pale face is gradually becoming a little bloody at this moment. At least, Qingtan no longer shouts about the cold. At the same time, her expression has changed from painful to normal. Finally, the last trace of evil spirit in Qingtan's body was absorbed by Lin Tianci, and Qingtan's consciousness is gradually returning. She naturally noticed her current state at the first time. She was lying on the bed naked, and Lin Tianci in front of her didn't seem to be wearing any clothes. She had never seen such a situation before. Qingtan's pretty face instantly turned as red as fire, but this time, she did not avoid Lin Tianci's gaze. Qingtan's eyes were tender as water. She gently touched the muscles on Lin Tianci's chest. "Brother Tianci, were you cold just now?" At this moment, a huge sense of satisfaction arose. He knew that after what happened tonight, Qingtan's heart was completely taken away by him. Her heart at this moment was completely beating for him. Lin Tianci did not hesitate and kissed her fiercely again. At the same time, his hands began to become dishonest. In addition, the two of them were now in a frank state, so it was naturally quite convenient for Lin Tianci to take action. Qingtan was extremely shy and quickly grabbed Lin Tianci's hand, then she bit Lin Tianci's lips. Ouch! A look of pain emerged on Lin Tianci's face. Qingtan was directly frightened. She quickly touched Lin Tianci's lips and asked softly, "Does it hurt?" Her words were full of self-blame and heartache. Then, she saw Lin Tianci's half-smile. At this moment, Qingtan couldn't react and realized that she was being fooled by Lin Tianci. Lin Tianci's body was so strong that he was fine even if he was cut by a knife, so how could he be hurt by her bite? Qingtan snorted immediately, then stretched out her hand and twisted Lin Tianci's waist fiercely. "You are trying so hard that you are going to murder your husband." Lin Tianci laughed. This sentence made Qingtan extremely shy again, and she buried her face in the quilt. Who said he is your husband?" Seeing such a lovely Qingtan, Lin Tianci smiled, and without waiting for Qingtan to continue pinching him, he quickly came out of the quilt, put on his clothes, and jumped out of the window. Now it was late at night, and he wanted to stay in Qingtan's room, but his keen hearing made him hear Lin Dong's footsteps. Lin Dong must have finished his practice and was looking for him everywhere. Lin Tianci appeared in front of Lin Dong. In a good mood, he answered several questions that Lin Dong encountered in his practice, encouraged Lin Dong a few words, and gave Lin Dong some medicinal materials. Seeing the flames of hard practice bursting out in Lin Dong's eyes again, Lin Tianci left with satisfaction. Tonight, there are really good things happening one after another. On the way home, Lin Tianci couldn't help thinking in his heart, and his steps became lighter because of this. Not only did he break through his realm, but he also completely captured Qingtan's heart. As expected, I am the real protagonist. He smiled. Then, Lin Tianci's eyes suddenly became deep. Speaking of which, after so much time has passed, the hunt in Qingyang town is almost here. Lei family, Xia family. He narrowed his eyes slightly. Not getting rid of me before I rise will be the most regretful decision you make in your life. Don't you usually boast of being the top 2 families in Qingyang town? Open your eyes and see, after this hunt, which family is the largest family in Qingyang town. These days, although he has been giving special training to Lin Dong every day. But this does not mean that he knows nothing. On the contrary, Lin Tianci knows about the increasingly heated discussion atmosphere in Qingyang town. He also knows how various forces are badmouthing him. Lin Tianci, there are even some fence-sitters who originally had some cooperative dealings with the Lin family. After hearing that Lin Tianci had provoked such a powerful opponent, they simply cut off cooperation with the Lin family, causing the Lin family to lose a lot of money in vain. A bunch of people who look down on others with their dog eyes. Lin Tianci snorted coldly. Whoever laughs last laughs the best. Unfortunately, you don't know this sentence. Lin Tianci's whisper was not heard by anyone, and it finally dissipated in the wind and drifted away in all directions. After the relationship with Qingtan got better that day, Lin Tianci stopped the special training for Lin Dong. In the past few days, although Lin Dong's strength has not been as abnormal as Lin Tianci's, it is still quite good. Now Lin Dong's strength has reached a node. If he wants to continue to break through, he needs to consolidate it. which is not something that can be achieved by simple special training. Therefore, Lin Tianci simply let Lin Dong practice on his own. Anyway, with Lin Dong's character, he will definitely not be lazy. However, Lin Tianci did not stop supplying Lin Dong with medicinal materials. This also led to most of the spiritual medicines that Huiyan Manor could supply to Lin Tianci being consumed by Lin Dong, and the remaining part was given to Qing Tan and Lin Xia. The only thing that made Lin Tianci a little unhappy was that the various spiritual medicines he gave to Lin Dong could not be returned by the system. But think about it, how could the system allow such a bug-like behavior to occur? If this is really the case, let alone the third-grade spiritual medicine, he can wholesale the seventh-grade spiritual medicine in tons. Lin Tianci was lying in the front yard of his home, enjoying the sunshine while thinking about the hunting in Qingyang town tomorrow. Although this hunting was not the first time Lin Tianci had seen it, it was the first time that Lin Tianci had personally participated in it. Ding, it is detected that the son of the plain, Lin Dong, has made a breakthrough in cultivation. Congratulations to the host, and you have received 10 times the cultivation return. The voice of the system sounded in Lin Tianci's mind again. Wow, I can only say that you are worthy of being the son of the plain. I thought that I would not be able to break through before the hunt, but I didn't expect that I would be surprised again. Lin Tianci sat up and received the tenfold cultivation return from the system. His aura once again ushered in a significant increase at this moment. Lin Tianci's strength, under the return of the system, actually reached the late stage of the earth realm. It is so comfortable to have a tool who does not know what fatigue is. Lin Tianci lay down again. He no longer has any worries about tomorrow's hunt. You, the Lei and Xie families, have taken so much of the spoils from my Lin family in hunting, it's time to spit it out. Chapter 43. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the year draws to a close, the atmosphere in Qingyang town is getting more and more lively. Walking on the street, in addition to the locals of Qingyang town, people from outside Qingyang town can be seen everywhere, constantly asking about the hunting. There are even some locals with business acumen who directly compiled the popular candidates for the hunting into a booklet and sold it to outsiders who are not aware of the situation. Since there are so many people buying, it can be considered a good business. The first page of the booklet is naturally Lei Li of the Lei family. After all, Lei Li's power is obvious to all in the whole Qingyang town. Lin Tianci's name is also in the booklet, but he is ranked behind several people. In the entire booklet, people from the 4 major forces in Qingyang town occupy the vast majority. After all, these 4 major forces are the well-deserved protagonists of the Qingyang town hunting competition, although there are also hundreds of other forces participating. But everyone with a discerning eye understands that the participation of these forces is just to add more highlights to the hunting competition, and the possibility of winning is almost zero. These forces also have self-knowledge in their hearts, so the purpose of their participation in hunting is only to test the strength of the younger generation and to improve their family or strength reputation. No matter what the purpose is, the hunting in Qingyang town has become the largest and most participated activity in a radius of 100 miles. And standing out in the hunting is naturally the fastest way to become famous in Qingyang town. The location of the entire hunting is set in the Beast Horn Field outside Qingyang town. This Beast Horn Field is the most magnificent building in the entire Qingyang town. The long wall is endless, and the depths of the wall even encompass a jungle of dozens of miles. The entire jungle is full of wild beasts and monsters. If a person with weak strength steps in, let alone fighting with others, just the monsters can make them hated on the spot. In the center of the jungle, there is a giant platform standing up. This giant platform is directly transformed from a small mountain. After climbing the giant platform, you will be watched by countless eyes, and the real championship competition will also be held on the giant platform. It is no exaggeration to say that stepping onto the stage is the first step to becoming famous. And showing off your skills on the stage and defeating your opponent in front of everyone will be so exciting. I am afraid that few young people will refuse such an honor. Under countless expectant eyes, the hunting in Qingyang town finally started today. The atmosphere of the entire Qingyang town was also ignited to the extreme at this moment. The mighty crowds of people from various strengths also gathered at the Beast Horn Field. The dense crowds were endless, and such a scene made people's hearts surge and their blood boil. at this time, Lin Tianci had already brought everyone from the Lin family to a high platform. This hunt is much more lively than I thought. Lin Tianci stood on the high platform, looking down at the dense crowd. At this moment, even though he had the experience of 2 lives, he couldn't help but be infected by the atmosphere of the crowd, and his mood was inevitably a little excited. Among the crowd below, Lin Tianci felt the breath of many strong people. Therefore, it is not an exaggeration to say that this hunt is a gathering of strong people. Well, today, all the big and small forces in Qinyang town are basically here. Lin Tianci stood behind Lin Tianci and said with a smile. Lin Tianci's eyes were full of kindness and satisfaction. He believed that his proudest grandson would shine in this hunt and bring honor to the Lin family. Those who participate in the hunt will each receive an identity token and then be randomly thrown into the jungle. In the jungle, your enemies are not just ferocious beasts. At the side, Lincoln also smiled and explained the rules of hunting to the younger generation of the Lin family. Everyone in the hunt is your enemy, because you have to get enough identity cards from others to be qualified to step onto the giant platform. Lin Tianci naturally knew the rules of hunting, but the faces of the other young people in the Lin family became a little serious at this moment. This hunt was indeed much more cruel than they imagined. Not only did they have to deal with wild beasts, but they also had to be careful to guard against attacks from others. It was really not easy. Therefore, those who could finally step onto the giant platform were always very outstanding. The hunt has not started yet. Although I don't know who will win or lose, I do know that the genius of your Lin family who has become famous recently is going to be buried in the belly of the beast. Just as the Lin family and others were talking, an inappropriate voice suddenly sounded at the side. At the same time, Lin Tianci felt several eyes staring at him. The Lin family and others frowned and turned their heads to look, but they saw a group of people coming in a mighty way. Needless to say, these must be people from the Lei family and the Xie family. Among them, there were 2 old men who were about the same age as Lin Tianci, surrounded by the crowd in the center. These 2 people are naturally the current heads of the Lei family and the Xie family, Lei Bao and Xie Qian. Lei Bao and Xie Qian both looked at Lin Tianci. There was an undisguised murderous intent in their eyes. Obviously, in this hunt, the 2 families have regarded Lin Tianci as a person who must be killed. Seeing this, the other forces around them naturally focused their attention here, curiously watching the tit-for-tat between the 2 families. It is too early to tell which genius will be buried in the beast's belly. But are the Lei and Xie families ready to win? My Lin family would be disrespectful to refuse. Lin Tianci sneered and looked at the Lei and Xie families approaching. Lin Tianci, this hunt will make you regret going against my Lei family. Lei Li followed behind Lei Bao, looking at Lin Tianci with a cold gaze, and spoke slowly. I'm afraid you, the Lei and Xie families, are not qualified to make me, Lin Tianci, regret it. Lin Tianci said calmly, his expression unchanged. Lin Tianci. This is Lin Tianci. After hearing Lei Li's words, many people subconsciously turned their eyes to this young man who has recently gained some fame in Qinyang town. Lin Tianci has a good appearance, but I don't know how long he can survive Lei Li's attack. A few moves. I don't think you can survive even 1 move. After the people from the Lei and Xie families left, not long after, another group of people came over in a mighty manner. Before they arrived, the hearty laughter had already come over. Brother Jintian, I haven't seen you for a long time. You are still as good as before. A middle-aged man who looked 70% like Wu Yun came forward with a big knife on his shoulder. Chapter 45. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Mad Blade Martial Arts School is the fastest rising force in Qinyang town. Although it has been in Qinyang town for a shorter time than the Lin family, no one dares to underestimate it. The appearance of the Mad Blade Martial Arts School naturally attracted a lot of attention. The middle-aged man who just spoke with full of energy is the owner of the Mad Blade Martial Arts School, the Mad Thunder Blade Luo Cheng. Luo Cheng is a little thin, with a smile on his lips, and there are several crisscrossing scars on his face. The longest scar even extends from his forehead to the corner of his mouth. These scars add a bit of fierceness to Luo Cheng, and he looks a bit intimidating. The knife on his shoulder is even more chilling, and there is even a flash of electricity flashing on it from time to time. Luo Cheng can be said to be the pillar of the Guangfeng Martial Arts School. The Guangdao Martial Arts School can gain a foothold in Qinyang town, which can be said to have 90% to do with Luo Qiang. Looking at the entire Qingyang town, in terms of strength, there are no more than 5 people who can fight with him and not lose. Lincoln on the side was whispering to Lin Tianci about the situation of the Quandao Martial Arts School. Yes. Lin Tianci nodded slightly, being able to withstand the huge pressure from the Lei family and the Xie family and develop such a huge force in Qingyang town. The strength of Luo Qiang should not be underestimated. Luo Qiang was a man who would not hesitate to fight to the death. When he wanted to establish the Crazy Blade Martial Arts School, he fought with Lei Bao from the Lei family. In the end, even though he was seriously injured, he still slashed Lei Bao's chest with a knife. After this incident, the Lei and Xie families did not dare to make any overt actions against the Quangdao Martial Arts School. Just as Lincoln was introducing, the people from the Quangdao Martial Arts School also came to the front of the Lin family and chatted with the elders such as Lin Zhentian and Lincoln quite familiarly. Due to the xenophobia of the Lei and Xie families, the relationship between the Quangdao Martial Arts School and the Lin family was surprisingly good under this circumstance. There was no smell of gunpowder between the two families during the conversation. Lin Tianci, I knew you would participate in this hunt. A lean figure appeared from the back of Luo Qiang. This figure was naturally Wu Yun, who had met him once at the fair that day. Well, long time no see. Lin Tianci smiled and nodded to Wu Yun. I got the news that the Lei family and the Xie family are in the same boat for this hunt, and they will probably unite from the beginning. No matter which side we go against, I'm afraid we will suffer some losses. So this time, if our two families have a chance, we can cooperate to avoid being swept out of the hunt by them. Oh. This is the genius of your Lin family who has recently become famous in Qingyang town. Luo Qiang, who was talking to Lin Zhentian, turned his head and looked at Lin Tianci after hearing Wu Yun's words. Lin Tianci greets the owner. Luo Qiang is a well-known strong man in Qingyang town anyway, so Lin Tianci naturally clasped his fists and said respectfully, I have also heard about what happened at the fair that day. Your Lin family has produced an incredible genius. Luo Qiang looked at Lin Tianci with a slightly scrutinizing gaze, then suddenly smiled and spoke. A hint of envy flashed across his eyes. Your Lin family is so lucky. It seems that the whole Qingyang town will undergo a big change soon. Then I'll borrow your good words first. Lin Zhentian was naturally very satisfied with Lin Tianci. He said something, and then he and Luo Qiang looked at each other and laughed. The hearty laughter spread to the area of the Lei family and the Xie family on the other side. Lei Bao and Xie Qian both had a gloomy look in their eyes. After this hunt, I wonder how your Lin family can still laugh. Lei Bao took a deep breath and looked at Lei Li. Don't worry, Grandpa. During this hunt, I will make Lin Tianci kneel down and beg me. Then I will drag him onto the giant platform and kill him in front of everyone in Qingyang town. A hint of coldness appeared in Lei Li's eyes. Obviously, he has been looking forward to this hunt. Lei Li's words made the unhappy look in the eyes of everyone in the Lei and Xie families fade a little. After a brief conversation, Luo Qiang and Lin Zhentian took the people from the Crazy Blade Martial Arts School to another place. With the arrival of the people from the Crazy Blade Martial Arts School, the people from several major forces in Qingyang town were basically all there. After waiting for a while, the flow of people rushing to the Beast Horn field gradually became sparse. Obviously, the people who should come for this hunt have already arrived. In the Lei family, Lei Bao stood up and glanced at the field with a sharp look. Under the pressure of his Tianyuan realm, the noise in the Beast Horn field also weakened a lot at this moment. Everyone, today is the hunting day in Qingyang town. I believe everyone has already understood the rules, so I won't elaborate on them here. Lei Bao's deep voice echoed throughout the Beast Horn field. Now all the young people who have obtained the identity cards can enter the Animal Horn field and hunt. Tianci, you have to take good care of Donger during this hunt. No matter what, you are the hope of our Lin family's future, and your safety is the most important. If the Lei and Xie families use any despicable means, you can just withdraw cleanly and not be ashamed. Lin Zhentian took out 2 black and yellow wooden signs, on which was engraved a Lin Z, and underneath there were some complex patterns to set off the yes. Lin Tianci nodded, and then, he took the identity token in the envious eyes of the crowd. Looking at the figures that kept jumping into the woods, Lin Tianci and Lin Dong also came to the edge of the platform. With me here, you Lei and Xie families are destined not to win the championship. Before jumping into the woods, Lin Tianci suddenly turned his head and looked in the direction of the Lei and Xie families, and said loudly, Lei Li and Xie Ying just stepped out of the crowd. Upon hearing this, the eyes of the Lei and Xie families immediately showed an uncontrollable murderous aura, and many forces on the side also cast astonished eyes at Lin Tianci. Obviously, in their view, Lin Tianci's provocative behavior in front of all the masters of the Lei and Xie families was no different from seeking death. It seems that this time, Lin Tianci is destined to not be able to come out of the hunt. What a pity for such a genius. Lin Tianci, take a good look at today's sun. As for tomorrow's sun, you may not be able to see it. Lei Li stared at Lin Tianci with cold eyes. I'll wait. After saying these 3 words neatly, Lin Tianci turned around, jumped off the platform, and fell into the woods below. After getting off the platform, Lin Tianci looked at the woods in front of him. Beside him, there were many juniors who also participated in the hunting competition, and around his head, there were large groups of black people, and the bustling sound made people feel dizzy. Seeing that Lin Dong had rushed into the dense forest in front of him, Lin Tianci couldn't help but smile. If he remembered correctly, Lin Dong had obtained a great opportunity in this hunt. A fire python tiger cub. Even an ordinary fire python tiger cub has the strength comparable to the Tianyuan realm when it matures, not to mention that Lin Dong obtained a mutated fire python tiger. Lin Tianci became more and more expectant, and the system's return, what opportunities will it bring to me? Seeing the people around him rushing into the jungle while being on guard against each other, Lin Tianci no longer hesitated and slowly entered the jungle. The moment he stepped into the jungle, the constant noise in his ears was blocked by the bushes and leaves of the jungle. Therefore, Lin Tianci felt much quieter. The few people in the jungle looked at Lin Tianci with vigilance. Obviously, they had all heard of Lin Tianci's name, and knew that with their strength, they could not get the identity token on Lin Tianci, and Lin Tianci had no interest in these people. His purpose of coming to hunt this time was quite clear, that is, the Lei family and the Xie family. However, Lin Tianci keenly noticed that a person in the distance recognized his identity and quietly retreated, obviously to pass on some information. Come on, let me see what you are up to. Lin Tianci sneered as he walked towards the depths of the forest. Along the way, Lin Tianci encountered many young people who were struggling with the beasts in the forest. He even saw a broken arm on the ground. It was obvious that the owner of the broken arm had met with an accident. Finally, Lin Tianci stopped. I said, you guys have been following me all the way, why don't you come out? He turned his head and looked at the empty forest behind him. Swoosh! A sharp arrow suddenly shot towards Lin Tianci. Lin Tianci just slightly turned sideways and dodged the arrow. Then, the arrow fiercely pierced the tree behind Lin Tianci. The force was so great that it was completely rooted. Then several figures walked out from behind the tree, all with cruel smiles on their faces. Lin Tianci, if you join forces with the Guangdao Martial Arts School, we might not be able to do anything to you. As for now, it seems that there is no need for Brother Lei Li to take action. The leader held a huge machete in his hand with a cruel smile on his face. The other people had similar expressions, and even felt a little excited from them. After all, with Lin Tianci's current fame in Qinyang town, as long as they can keep Lin Tianci here completely, they will also be able to make a big splash in this hunt. Many people around saw this scene and turned their heads curiously. Then, when they saw that the crowd gathered were from the Lei and Xie families, they couldn't help but change their faces. With so many masters, Lin Tianci looks like he is in danger this time. After all, even if Lin Tianci has reached the 9th level of body tempering, he would be outnumbered by so many people beating him up. You all gathered together, so I don't have to go looking for you one by one. Lin Tianci looked relaxed and even laughed. 3 people at the 8th level of body tempering, is this what you can rely on? Lin Tianci, you are about to die, and you still dare to speak so arrogantly. The young Lei family leader sneered and said, I think you have been scared out of your mind. After saying this, he no longer hesitated, waved his hand, and said, come at once, don't give him a chance to resist. Obviously, this person was also worried that if he delayed too long, the people from the Guangdao Martial Arts School or the Lin family would come looking for him. that way, he would miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Seeing the youngsters from the Lei and Xie families rushing forward, the people watching nearby couldn't help but shook their heads. The outcome was already decided. Even if Lin Tianci had 3 heads and 6 arms, he would probably be powerless to save the situation. The next moment, a violent explosion broke out in the field. In an instant, smoke and dust scattered in the field, and wood chips and grass leaves flew across the field, blocking everyone's sight. When the smoke and dust gradually dissipated, a figure standing in the field attracted everyone's attention. When they saw the figure clearly, all the onlookers couldn't help but shrink their pupils, because that figure was Lin Tianci. The youngsters from the Lei and Xie families were lying on the ground in all directions, blood was splattered all over the ground, and several people had shocking holes on their bodies. Their breathing had stopped, and they were obviously dead. Considering that there was only one sound just now, everyone had an extremely terrifying idea in their hearts. This Lin Tianci actually killed so many youngsters with just one punch. What a monster this guy is. A bunch of rubbish. I thought you could give me a little surprise. Lin Tianci curled his lips, his eyes full of disdain. Then, he looked around casually. All those who looked at Lin Tianci couldn't help but lower their heads, not daring to look at Lin Tianci at all. You guys are not leaving yet. Are you trying to snatch my ID card? Lin Tianci's cold voice fell, the leaves turned and the bushes flew, everyone fled in panic, and they didn't even dare to say anything harsh. After all, the gap was too big, and they couldn't think of anything else. The people around them disappeared in an instant, and Lin Tianci slowly walked to the front of the younger generations of the Lei and Xie families and took the ID cards on their waists. The situation of the younger generations of the Lei and Xie families is now extremely tragic. Most of them had half of their bodies knocked off by Lin Tianci's punch just now. The few left are also breathing weakly at the moment. If they are not treated immediately, they are estimated to not last until the end of this hunt. Lin Tianci naturally couldn't be so kind as to send herbs, and not finishing them off was already a great mercy on his part. Yes, in this case, 10 ID cards will be enough. After roughly counting the ID cards, Lin Tianci nodded with satisfaction. At this moment, Lin Tianci suddenly heard a faint roar of a tiger in the dense forest in the distance. The tiger's roar was weak and it was obviously about to reach its limit. Along with the tiger's roar, there were also a lot of noisy sounds. Lin Tianci's eyes suddenly lit up. Chapter 46. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He waited for the appearance of the fire python tiger, but he waited too long. He raised his ears to judge the approximate direction of the roar of the fire python tiger. Lin Tianci then picked up the speed and went towards the roar of the tiger. With the shaking of the leaves, there was no life here in an instant, and only the corpses of the Lei and Xie families on the ground were left, telling the tragic fight that had just happened here. The entire forest covers a large area, and Lin Tianci's hearing is beyond ordinary people. Therefore, even at his speed, it took about 10 minutes to finally reach the place where the fire python tiger was. The fire python tiger can be said to be notorious in Qingyang town. The combat power of this monster in adulthood is equivalent to that of a Tianyuan realm strongman. However, the activity place of the fire python tiger is generally in the deep mountains. The possibility of appearing in a fenced place like the Qingyang town beast corner is almost zero. It is only during the special period of giving birth that it is possible to see such a level of monster here. Lin Tianci had no doubt that if the news of a seriously injured fire python tiger giving birth appeared in the forest, all the major forces in Qingyang town would be jealous. They would even stop the hunt this time to compete for the fire python tiger cub. After all, if a family could get a fire python tiger cub, it would be equivalent to having a pet comparable to the Tianyuan realm. Even the Lin family, after such a long growth, only had 4 people in the Tianyuan realm. Therefore, it is not difficult to imagine how attractive this fire python tiger cub is in the eyes of these forces. Lin Tianci stopped, then bent his legs slightly, and stood steadily on a tree branch. Here, he could easily look around the entire terrain. In front of him was a sparsely forested area. There were no bushes or anything like that to block his view. Lin Tianci looked towards the sparse open space. Immediately, he saw dozens of figures holding various weapons on the open space at this time. At the head of these dozens of figures stood a woman with an extraordinary figure. Lin Tianci frowned slightly. This figure was naturally the Xie family's current top young cultivator, Xie Yingyin. As for Lei Li, he was nowhere to be seen. That's not right, shouldn't Lei Li be with Xia Yingying all the time? Lin Tianci was a little surprised. He really didn't know what could have made Lei Li give up the fire python tiger cub that was almost easy to catch. That Lei Li, is he going to look for me? A guess suddenly appeared in Lin Tianci's mind, making a smile appear on the corner of his mouth. In the center of the group, Lin Tianci saw a rather large monster. The appearance of this monster was like an oversized tiger, with fiery red hair all over its body. Most importantly, its tail was coiled on its back, swallowing and spitting, like a python, staring at the people around it. This monster was naturally the fire python tiger. Speaking of which, although Lin Tianci often went to the mountains to find monsters for training, this fire python tiger was the first time he had seen it. However, the breath of this fire python tiger was obviously quite weak, and its originally majestic appearance seemed a little powerless at this moment. Even the tiger's roar could be heard to be very weak. Streams of blood flowed out from the belly of the fire python tiger, dyeing the nearby woods blood red. It was obvious, this fire python tiger has been seriously injured. Even if the Lei and Xia families were not besieging it, it would not be able to hold on for long. After seeing the situation of the fire python tiger, Lin Tianci nodded slightly, then turned his eyes, and immediately felt a little amused, because on the other side of the dense forest, he saw Lin Dong's figure. At this moment, Lin Dong was lying on a high slope, with a lot of dust on his clothes. At this moment, he was looking at the fire python tiger in the open space with a serious face. Obviously, Lin Dong was also very excited about these fire python cubs and was looking for an opportunity to fight for them. Not far from Lin Dong, there were people from the Guangdao Martial Arts School. At this moment, Wu Yun was still turning his head to talk to Lin Dong. Lin Tianci was a little curious. Immediately, he moved slightly and came to a tree branch not far from Lin Dong. With Lin Tianci's strength at this time, he was naturally not discovered by Lin Dong and others. Lin Dong, do you know where Lin Tianci went? Wu Yun poked Lin Dong's shoulder and asked, I don't know. Brother Tianci separated from me when we first entered the jungle. Lin Dong shook his head slowly. A look of disappointment appeared on Wu Yun's face. Without Lin Tianci here, it will be very difficult for us to snatch the fire python tiger. This time, it all depends on whether luck is on our side. Lin Dong also nodded, but did not look at Wu Yun. Instead, he stared at the gradually weakening fire python tiger in the field without blinking. Let's go now while Lei Li is not here. Seeing the fire python tiger swung its tail and repelled several young Lei family members, Wu Yun's eyes lit up. Then he rushed out first. However, just as they rushed to the scene, they saw several Lei family geniuses with harmonious auras rushing out of the dense forest and directly blocking Wu Yun and others. Wu Yun and Lin Dong's faces changed. They could feel that the cultivation of these people had reached the 9th level of body tempering. The situation was instantly out of their control. The Lei family's background is indeed deep enough. Lin Tianci couldn't help but sigh when he saw this. The number of these 9th level body tempering juniors was much greater than that of the Lin family. Lin family, Guangdao Martial Arts School, do you really think I, Xia Yingying, am a fool? Xia Yingying snorted coldly. Since Lin Tianci is not here, it is the same to cripple them. As she finished speaking, several geniuses from the Lei family and the Xia family immediately attacked Lin Dong and others. In just a moment, the whole situation became precarious. Wu Yun and others began to retreat. The enemy is so strong that even if Lin Tianci comes, they will probably end up in a miserable way. Just as Wu Yun, Lin Dong and others were retreating pessimistically, they saw a figure appear on the scene again. How could the gathering place of the Lei and Xia families be without me, Lin Tianci? Under the gazes of everyone, Lin Tianci walked to the center of the venue, just blocking the people of the Lei and Xia families from Lin Dong and others. Lin Tianci. Wu Yun's eyes brightened a little, but then sank again. Chapter 47. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It seems that you, the Lei and Xia families, really want this fire python tiger cub. Lin Tianci shrugged and looked at Xia Yingying. Xia Yingying's eyes revealed endless resentment. Since the day when Xia Ting was crippled by Lin Tianci, she began to fall into despair. If it weren't for him accompanying her these days, Xia Ting would have committed suicide long ago. Under such circumstances, Xia Yingying's hatred for Lin Tianci naturally increased exponentially. That fire python tiger can't get away. so don't worry about it for now. Everyone, surround and kill Lin Tianci. Xia Yingying said straightforwardly, then she waved her hand, and dozens of geniuses from the Lei and Xia families gathered around. Each of them looked unfriendly, and they immediately used their most powerful martial arts, various explosive auras connected together, and everyone in the Crazy Blade martial arts hall changed their faces. Under the siege of so many people, they definitely had no chance of escaping. Lin Tianci, let's stop them together. Go quickly. This fire python tiger is not worth it. Wu Yun subconsciously wanted to run, however, Lin Tianci raised his hand and punched out simply under countless stunned eyes. Then, the aura that made everyone feel fear rushed out of Lin Tianci's body, wrapped in the heart-pounding energy. It heavily bombarded the martial arts used by the younger generations of the Xia and Lei families, almost like a rotten wood. The younger generations of the Lei and Xia families vomited blood and flew away. Recognize, are you serious? Wu Yun swallowed hard, and his eyes, which were originally small, were now wide open. Several people from the Crazy Blade martial arts school had already withdrawn, but now they stopped and turned around, revealing an expression as if they had seen a ghost. Lin Tianci actually suppressed and crippled many powerful young people from the Lei and Xia families with one punch. If you want to blame someone, blame them. The Xia family bullied my sister that day. I am a person who holds grudges. These are just some interest. Under Xia Yingying's horrified eyes, Lin Tianci spoke. She didn't know how many bones were broken in her body under Lin Tianci's punch just now. Roar. At this moment, the sound of the fire python tiger's wailing suddenly came from the side, then its huge body collapsed with a loud bang. The fire python tiger is dead. Everyone on the field reacted, but no one moved. The people from the Lei and Xia families were already unable to move, and they lay on the ground like dead dogs. As for the people from the Crazy Blade martial arts school, Wu Yun laughed awkwardly. He was still very clear in his mind. After all the credit went to Lin Tianci. If Lin Tianci hadn't appeared, they wouldn't know where they would have escaped to, and the other people who were attracted didn't dare to move. The shadow cast by Lin Tianci's casual punch just now was really too big. You guys go ahead, we'll be waiting for you here. Wu Yun said, let's go, let me see what the fire python tiger cub looks like. Lin Tianci took the lead and headed for the boulder behind the fire python tiger. Lin Dong naturally followed behind Lin Tianci with excitement. This is a fire python tiger cub, and he couldn't help but feel happy when he thought about it. Soon, Lin Tianci and the others walked onto the boulder, and several fire python tiger cubs with some blood on them came into his sight. At this moment, some of the fire python tigers were still crawling, which was extremely cute. There are actually 4 of them. Lin Tianci's eyes lit up. In this case, the distribution would be very simple, you choose first. Lin Tianci looked at Lin Dong. He didn't have the stone talisman, so he couldn't tell which fire python tiger was the special one. Seeing this, Lin Dong didn't refuse, and nodded with a smile on his face. Then he chose the fire python tiger on the far right, which looked a little weak. There are 3 left, one is Lin Xia's, one is Qingtan's, and the other is mine. Lin Tianci took the remaining 3 fire pythons into his arms. Ding! It is detected that the son of the plane, Lin Dong, has obtained an opportunity, and has mutated into a fire python tiger. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a 1,000-fold return, a 9-winged white tiger. As soon as the system finished speaking, he discovered that the fire python tiger in his arms, which he had just chosen, had actually changed at this moment. It exuded an aura that seemed to come from the ancient times, and on its back, a pair of small protrusions grew. I actually got 1,000 times return this time. What good luck. Thinking of how he had just destroyed so many geniuses from the Lei and Xia families, and how he got 1,000 times return from the system that is rare in a century, Lin Tianci couldn't help but sigh in his heart. I'm afraid today is not his lucky day. Although he has never heard of the name of this 9-winged white tiger, judging from the aura it exudes, it should be an ancient monster. When this little guy finally grows up, I'm afraid he will be able to set off a bloody storm on this Tianxian continent. During this time, Lin Tianci and Lin Dong got off the boulder and were met with the envious eyes of Wu Yun and others. This is a fire python tiger that can rival the Tianyuan realm after it grows up, and the Lin family got 4 at once. It can be seen that in the future, the Lin family will definitely become the largest family in the entire Qingyang town. Ying. At this moment, a roar came from the side, then, a rather large figure appeared in the field, and then quickly came to the side of Xia Ying, who was lying on the ground. This figure was naturally Lei Li. Seeing the people of the Lei family lying in a very tragic situation in the field, Lei Li's eyes immediately burned with anger. In his rage, his body even trembled slightly. Everyone in Qingyang town knew that Xia Ying was his Lei Li's fiancée, but Lin Tianci seriously injured Xia Ying, which was no different from slapping himself in the face. The faces of several Xia family juniors following Lei Li also showed ugly expressions. Their goal of this hunt was to unite and kill Lin Tianci. As a result, Lin Tianci is now safe and sound, but the people of their Lei and Xia families have suffered heavy casualties. Lei Li roared and rushed towards Lin Tianci. Lin Tianci, die. However, when he rushed halfway, he was stopped by a member of the Xia family behind him. Brother Lei, calm down. Calm down. How can I calm down? Lei Li's eyes were red. They have a fire python tiger cub in their hands. If they are accidentally injured, it will be bad. It is better to wait until we are on the giant stage. Our two elders are here. By then, the fire python tiger cub and Lin Tianci's life will be at our disposal. The genius of the Xia family leaned close to Lei Li's ear and whispered. Lei Li's chest rose and fell violently, but it was obvious that he also listened to the words of the Xia family junior. Lin Tianci, then I'll let you live a little longer. Lei Li gritted his teeth and almost squeezed out these words. Chapter 48. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Have you all obtained enough identity tokens? Lin Tianci turned his head and looked at Lin Dong and the younger generations from the Crazy Blade Martial Arts School. Wu Yun and Lin Dong both nodded. Their strengths were quite good. At least, hunting was not difficult. In that case, let's go up there. Lin Tianci looked at the place where Lei Li and the others had just stood, and a hint of murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Lei Li wanted to get rid of him on the giant stage, and Lin Tianci also wanted to crush the pride of the Lei and Xia families under the gaze of countless people. On the way, they met some other contestants, but when they saw Lin Tianci in the crowd, their faces changed and they instantly gave up the idea of snatching the identity cards. Soon, the group came to the center of the dense forest. When they saw the dozens of times the identity cards that Lin Tianci took out, they all widened their eyes in surprise. How many forces did Lin Tianci rob? After the inspection, Lin Tianci and the others stepped onto the high platform. Dad, I've said it before, it's quite easy for Tianci and Donger to get 10 identity cards with their strength. Lincoln on the side also said with a smile. Having said that, his clenched fist loosened at this moment. After stepping onto the giant platform, Lin Tianci immediately felt the dense gazes from all directions. With 10 identity cards, he is considered a little master in Qingyang town. Later, was Ying delayed by something? Why didn't she come on stage? Xie Qian asked. What? Xie Qian opened his eyes wide, his eyes full of disbelief. Are you saying that Lin Tianci alone destroyed all the younger generations of my Xia and Lei families? Bang! The cup in Lei Li's hand was crushed by him at this moment. A burst of anger spread from the Lei and Xia families. Grandpa, Uncle Xia, during this hunt, our Lei and Xia families also encountered a seriously injured fire python tiger. We finally surrounded and killed it, but at the last moment, Lin Tianci appeared and not only attacked Ying and seriously injured her, but also snatched away the 4 cubs of the fire python tiger. Please help us, Grandpa. Whether it was the Lei family or the Xia family, even Lin Jintian and others stood up at this moment. Their faces changed drastically. What does it belong to? I knocked them back with just one punch, so how dare you ask for the fire python tiger cub in my hand? Lin Jintian also spoke at this moment. Lei Bao refused to give in at this moment, for fire python tiger cubs were worth his loss. A trace of murderous intent flashed in Lin Tianci's eyes. His current strength has reached the peak of the Earth Yuan realm. One step further, it will be the Heaven Yuan realm. The day he enters the Heaven Yuan realm will be the day when the Lei and Xia families will be destroyed. What do you want? Now that the Lei and Xia families have joined forces, if this matter is not resolved well, I'm afraid it will be really troublesome. What? Lin Jintian's face darkened at this moment. Two families against his family. It was obvious that the possibility of winning was very slim. The words of the Lei and Xie families also caused an uproar in the field. Lei Li alone was enough to make Lin Tianci drink a pot. If a genius from the Xie family was added, the Lin family was doomed to lose the fire python tiger cub. My Lei family uses Taimu Manor as collateral. If Lei Li loses to Lin Tianci in this competition, I will offer Taimu Manor to you with both hands. Anyway, it is a gamble that he will win. No matter what he mortgages, he will not feel sorry at all. Xie Tian. Hearing Xie Qian's words, Lin Jintian's pupils shrank suddenly. When he was young, he was absorbed by the big forces in Yancheng because of his strong talent. Who would have thought that he would come back for this hunt? Dad, otherwise, forget it. Lincoln and the other two hesitated, then gritted their teeth and whispered. Lin Tianci was fighting 1 against 2, and his opponent was a young man who had been famous in Qinyang town for a long time. This winning rate was really too low. Alas! Just when Lin Jintian was about to refuse, a loud voice came from the stone platform, shocking everyone. My Lin family accepts this gambling fight. Chapter 50. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You are so arrogant. I thought you, Lin Tianci, had already reached the Tianyuan realm. Lei Li was also a little surprised by the strength shown by Lin Tianci, but we have 2 Earth Realm Masters in our field, so your reliance is really a bit funny. A frog in the well of a small town like Qingyang, thinking that he can be invincible with his peers after reaching the Earth Origin realm. Xie Tian also sneered disdainfully. However, the jealousy that flashed across his eyes still revealed Xie Tian's restlessness at the moment. Lei Li's hand seemed to drop slightly unintentionally, and then he felt a hard object hidden in his sleeves, the demon-killing needle. Immediately, Lei Li's somewhat uneasy heart because of Lin Tianci's breakthrough to the Earth Origin realm was put down. With this object in hand, even if Lin Tianci reached the Heaven Origin realm, he would die. Lin Tianci, are you ready to accept your own death? Lei Li's eyes were full of ferocity. Seeing the 3 of them standing still in the field, the referee in charge of this bet also announced the start of the game under the burning gaze of the crowd. Lei Li and Xie Tian beside him looked at each other. Let us go together and solve him in one move. Xie Tian naturally nodded slightly. Lei Li's eyes condensed, and then he took a step forward fiercely, and the Yuanli in his body began to rage at this moment. Then arcs of electricity flashed from Lei Li's body, blooming with a frightening light. Lei Li rushed towards Lin Tianci, and on his palm, lightning surged, and the light was so hot that people dared not look directly at it. Lei family run lightning. As soon as the light on Lei Li's hand appeared, many people in the audience recognized it. They couldn't help but screamed. This thundering light is one of the 2 unique skills of the Lei family. It is a well-deserved 4th-grade martial arts. In terms of power, it is hard to find an opponent among the 4th-grade martial arts. Ordinary earth element realms will be in agony from the raging thunder and light even if they touch it. Wu Yun in the audience opened his eyes wide and murmured, this thunder power is hidden too deep. On the other side, Xie Tian also showed a martial arts that was not inferior to the thunder power. For a while, the wind and thunder in the field were loud, rolling up the gravel and dead leaves on the ground. The whole open space gave people a feeling of extreme danger. Some people couldn't help but close their eyes. These 2 people came up with a killing move. Lin Tianci was afraid that he would be shattered under the attack of Lei Li and Xie Tian. The faces of the Lin family members changed drastically, and the younger generation such as Lin Xia had some difficulty breathing under this power. Father, hurry up, let Tianci admit defeat. Lei Li and Xie Tian are going to kill him. Seeing this, Lin Xiao hurriedly took 2 steps forward and came to Lin Jintian's side, saying in a lost voice, if this is not handled well, their Lin family may lose a genius. Lin Jintian took a deep breath and was about to stand up to stop. Wait a little longer. Lincoln on the side suddenly said in a deep voice. For some reason, when he noticed Lin Tianci's calm expression, Lincoln suddenly felt a sense of peace in his heart. Lin Tianci would definitely not do anything he was not sure of. Lin Jintian nodded, but the power in his body did not dissipate. If Lin Tianci really couldn't hold on, he would do everything he could to save Lin Tianci off the stage. Lei Li and Xie Tian were very fast, and they arrived in front of Lin Tianci in almost an instant. Lin Tianci looked at the two figures that were rapidly enlarged. His face was still indifferent, but between his hands, a rather mysterious seal was formed. Lin Tianci, die. A ferocious look appeared in Lei Li's eyes, and he slapped Lin Tianci fiercely. At the same time, Xie Tian's fist also smashed towards Lin Tianci's chest. As the two of them swung their fists and feet, the sound of breaking through the air continued to be heard. At this critical moment, Lin Tianci's hand that was forming a seal suddenly stopped. The first form of the Kaitian seal was formed. In his hands, the true energy and the power of chaos were unpredictable, blooming with a heart-pounding power, and even distorted the space. Under the convergence of countless eyes, the seal method and fists and feet collided with a bang. Boom! Powerful qi and yuanli fluctuations erupted from the center of the collision between the two and the three. Strong winds raged, and countless gravels exploded and turned into dust, blocking everyone's sight. At this moment, everyone in the audience held their breath, staring at the center of the giant stage without blinking, for fear of missing any details. When the dust rose, two figures were like kites with broken strings, piercing through the thick smoke and dust and flying backwards. Finally, they fell heavily to the ground and spit out a mouthful of blood. And their eyes, noses, and ears were also bleeding at this moment, obviously suffering from quite serious internal injuries. It was Lei Li and Xie Tian. When everyone saw the two figures flying backwards, the entire audience was silent at this moment, and you could hear a pin drop. After a long time, the smoke and dust finally settled. Lin Tianci stood calmly in the field with his hands behind his back, and his figure was reflected in the pupils of countless people. At this moment, Lin Tianci's clothes were still spotless, and he was extremely calm, as if he had just slapped two flies away. I didn't even want to use martial arts. Who told you to be so determined to die? The cold voice echoed throughout the beast horn field. The people from the Lei and Xie families had turned pale at this moment. With one move, Lin Tianci actually destroyed the long-famous geniuses of the Lei and Xie families with one move. Such a terrifying gap made their hearts cold. Tianci actually won. Unlike the Lei and Xie families, the atmosphere in the Lin family became extremely warm. Lin Jintian's face flushed at this moment, and he couldn't help but use his hands to crush the teacup. Self-created martial arts again. Lincoln couldn't help but smile, and the palms on his thighs couldn't help but tremble at this moment. An incomparable sense of pride was brewing in his heart, using self-created martial arts to defeat the two geniuses Lei Xie with one seal. This record, I'm afraid no one in the whole Yanqing can do it. Brother Tianci is so strong. Lin Xia's eyes were filled with admiration. She would never dare to dream of such a scene. Dad, if this genius of our Lin family develops for another 2 years, I'm afraid the entire Lin clan will look up to him. Lin Xiao took a deep breath and couldn't help but said, yeah. Lin Jintian nodded slowly, tremblingly wiped the tea on his palms from his clothes, then he looked up, his eyes a little wet. God has eyes. Impossible, impossible. Lei Li, who was not far away, lay on the ground, trying hard to stand up, and kept muttering. Chapter 52. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lei Li, I will destroy your Lei family. Lin Jintian's face turned pale. He closed his eyes and no longer dared to look at the situation on the giant stage. Brother. Lin Xia's eyes turned red at this moment. Lin Tianci, accept your death. Unlike the Lin family, the atmosphere of the Lei and Xie families was relaxed at this moment. Then, they all looked at Lin Tianci in the field with expectation. Lin Tianci, if you go against my Lei family, your only way out is death. Lei Bao exhaled. Amidst the gazes of people with different thoughts, the demon-killing needle shot at Lin Tianci at an extremely fast speed. Dang! The demon-killing needle pierced Lin Tianci's back fiercely, but to everyone's surprise, after the demon-killing needle hit Lin Tianci's body, it actually made a clanging sound of metal colliding. A sneer appeared on the corner of Lin Tianci's mouth. With his current strength, any disturbance in the surroundings cannot escape his perception. Therefore, the moment Lei Li moved, he was noticed by Lin Tianci. the reason why he didn't move was that he had absolute confidence in his body. Although his current strength is only at the Earth Yuan realm on the surface, his body has long been indestructible after being transformed by so much chaotic power. Lin Tianci's move was also to completely destroy Lei Li's confidence. Even sneak attacks can't do anything to me, Lin Tianci, so what is Lei Li? But what surprised Lin Tianci was, Lei Li's sneak attack was actually a hidden weapon. After the demon exterminating needle touched Lin Tianci's back, it fell to the ground powerlessly because of the power dissipated. Suddenly, the demon exterminating needle directly corroded the mountain. Obviously, the demon exterminating needle carries a deadly poison. If it is inserted into a person's body, it is difficult to save him. Lin Tianci's robe also had a small hole because of the demon exterminating needle. However, through this small hole, it can be seen that Lin Tianci's skin is not abnormal at all. This demon exterminating needle did not even leave a small needle hole on Lin Tianci's body. Waves of gasps sounded one after another. The changes in the field just now attracted everyone's attention. They have not yet marveled at the fall of the genius, but the next scene of Lin Tianci being safe and sound makes them dazzled again. This Lin Tianci is really, someone was halfway through his words, but didn't know how to continue. There were too many unexpected things in this gambling fight. But no matter which time, Lin Tianci appeared in front of everyone with an absolute victory. Tianci is fine, fine. Lincoln patted his thigh vigorously, then showed an expression of surviving a disaster and breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Jintian stood up and slowly sat back on the stone chair. Fortunately Lin Tianci is fine. After being thankful, Lin Jintian was shocked again. The demon-killing needle did not leave any mark on Lin Tianci's body. How strong is Lin Tianci's body? Impossible. In the Lei family, Lei Bao suddenly opened his eyes wide and smashed the stone table in front of him. How is this possible? Xie Qian's face was full of disbelief. He had spent a lot of money to buy the demon-slaying needle and personally gave it to Lei Li. Therefore, he was well aware of its power, but now, the demon-slaying needle couldn't even break Lin Tianci's defense, and the poison covering it couldn't even hurt him. I wanted to spare your life temporarily, but since you are so determined to die, you can't blame me. Lin Tianci twisted his neck. It would be fine if Lei Li was not as skilled as others, but now he even used hidden weapons. It really made Lin Tianci unhappy. Fortunately, his body was already quite strong, otherwise, he would be the one lying on the ground now. Lin Tianci punched Lei Li cleanly. Lin Tianci did not hold back with this punch. Lei Li must die. In Lei Li's pupils, Lin Tianci's figure was getting closer and closer. This time, the anxious people turned from the Lin family to the Lei family. But unfortunately, the Lei family was not close to the center of the giant platform, so naturally there was no rush to rescue them at this moment. They could only watch Lin Tianci punch Lei Li's body. The body was pierced through. Lei Li's heart was blown up at this moment. Scarlet blood spilled all over the ground, and the spirit in Lei Li's eyes disappeared at this moment, and it was gray. With such a punch, even if the great Luo immortal came, I'm afraid he couldn't be saved. No one reacted. Lin Tianci was killed by Lei Li with such a clean punch. The former #1 genius in Xinyang town died just like that. The whole Lei family erupted at this moment. Lei Bao's eyes were red. This Lei Li was his most proud grandson. Even if he was not as good as Lin Tianci at this moment, his future was still limitless. But such a grandson was killed mercilessly by Lin Tianci at this moment. Lin Tianci, you are so brave. The Thunder Leopard shouted angrily, today you must pay for your life with Lei Li. After saying this, the Thunder Leopard's body flashed violently, and then came in front of Lin Tianci, and the pressure of the Tianyuan realm burst out from his body unscrupulously. Lei Bao, the swords and knives in this ring are blind, and it is inevitable that some accidents will happen. The next moment, Lin Jintian's figure directly blocked in front of Lin Tianci, and he said calmly, you are a senior, and you personally deal with the younger generation of my Lin family. Do you really think that there is no one in my Lin family? Lin Jintian, if you don't get out of the way, from today on, the Lei and Xie families will go to war with your Lin family. Lei Bao gritted his teeth, stared at Lin Jintian, and said, on the other side, Xie Qian also surrounded him and came straight to Lin Tianci. We all know how much we are capable of. You alone cannot stop the two of us. Xie Qian also spoke at this moment. There was a strong murderous intent in his eyes. Today, Lin Tianci must die. If you want to start a war, then start a war. Lin Tianci had no intention of retreating. Even if I, Lin Tianci, risk my life, I will bite off a piece of meat from you, Lei and Xie families. If you ask me, Lei Li is just courting his own death. Lin Tianci has already spared his life, but he insisted on a sneak attack. Now he is killed in return. It's no one else's fault. At this moment, Luo Cheng's voice was heard from the side, then everyone saw Luo Cheng carrying a big knife and walking towards the center of the field step by step. The style of your Lei and Xie families is a bit too overbearing. This Qingyang town is not named Lei. Seeing that the people from the Guangdao Martial Arts School also came forward, there was an uproar in the field. Chapter 53. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Luo Cheng, are you determined to get involved in this? Lei Bao's brows knitted tightly at this moment. If the people from the Crazy Blade Martial Arts School came out to help the Lin family, then the advantage of the alliance between the Lei and Xie families would be gone. You Lei and Xie families are too overbearing. I just can't stand it. Luo Cheng glanced coldly at Lei Bao and Xie Qian, then he stood beside Lin Tianci. You guys are fine. Seeing that the Guangdao Martial Arts School insisted on standing in front of them, Lei Bao took a deep breath. He felt that he was holding back a lot of anger in his heart and couldn't vent it, but judging from the situation on the field, he really couldn't do anything to the Lin family and the Lei family. A rather aggrieved feeling arose in the hearts of Lei Bao and Xie Qian. Lei Bao stomped his feet fiercely, and his yuanli exploded, leaving a dent on the ground. Lin family, Guangdao Martial Arts School, you wait for me, my Lei family will not let this matter go. After saying this, Lei Bao waved his hand, sent two people to retrieve Lei Li's body, and then turned and left. Those glances made Lei Bao feel like a thorn in his back. Today, his Lei family and the Xie family had completely lost face. In this case, I hope that the Lei and Xie families can complete the handover of Taima Manor and the auction house within 15 days. With so many eyes on this place in Qingyang town, I believe that your two families will not delay. Lin Tianci looked at the backs of the Lei and Xie families and added with a smile, although the current situation is no different from a falling out, Lin Tianci will naturally take what the Lin family deserves. The contract has been signed. If the Lei and Xie families breach the contract, then the reputation they have painstakingly built in Qingyang town for so many years will probably collapse at this moment. Such consequences are much more serious than losing Taima Manor and the auction house. Hearing Lin Tianci's hearty laughter, Lei Bao, who was walking far ahead, paused and his face flushed, a mouthful of blood brewed in his throat, and he was about to spit it out. Looking at the somewhat embarrassed figure of the Lei family, the Lin family also felt a burst of pleasure. Over the years, they have been suppressed by the Lei and Xie families. This time, the Lei family has suffered so much anger but can only hold it in their hearts. With such a huge contrast, how can the Lin family not be excited? Your Lin family has produced a real dragon. Even the small puddle of Qingyang town is not enough for him to turn over. Seeing that the Lei and Xie families had already stepped down from the giant stage, Luo Cheng also looked at Lin Tianci beside him. While speaking, he couldn't help but feel a little sour. This time, I would like to thank Master Luo. In the future, our Lin family and your Guangdao Martial Arts School will have more exchanges. Lin Tianci clasped his fists to Luo Cheng and expressed his gratitude. If Luo Cheng had not helped today, this matter would have been difficult to resolve. If it wasn't for Tianci, I wouldn't have helped today. Luo Cheng shook his head and spoke quite frankly. Lin Tianci was stunned, then looked at Lin Tianci standing behind him, his eyes full of pride. Then, Lin Tianci and Lin Tianci returned to the Lin family seat. After a brief discussion, they withdrew from this hunt. For the Lin family, whether to participate in the next game or not, it no longer has much meaning, because the biggest gain has been obtained by their Lin family. Although the three major forces all withdrew halfway, everyone in Qingyang town knew that the uncrowned king of this hunt was the young man named Lin Tianci from the Lin family. The Lin family, Ever since Lin Tianci and others came back from the Beast Horn field, the news that Lin Tianci defeated Lei Li and Xia Tian on the giant stage with ease spread throughout the entire Lin family like wings. This news made everyone in the Lin family open their eyes wide in astonishment. He entered the Earth element realm in half a year, fought 1 against 2, defeated 2 geniuses of the same level with 1 seal, and even the demon-destroying needle could not do anything to him. Such a terrifying record. Is it really possible for them, the Lin family, to do it? After the shock, everyone felt a sense of pride. Lin Tianci's move really brought honor to the Lin family. In the hall, the Lin family sat in their seats in turn. Brother Tianci is too powerful. Even if I have reached the Earth realm, I can only barely beat Lei Li at best. If Xia Tian, who is also in the Earth realm, is added, I am afraid it will end in failure. Lin Dong looked at Lin Tianci with his eyes full of envy. With such terrifying strength, even if he had the stone talisman, he still felt that he could not catch up. The gap was even wider. Tianci is really the lucky star of our Lin family. After the Taima Manor and the auction house are transferred to our Lin family, the strength of our Lin family will usher in a leap, and the foundation of the Lei and Xia families will be greatly weakened. As one grows stronger, the other weakens. The Lei and Xia families will no longer pose a threat. Lin Jintian smiled and took a sip of the tea in the cup, and said. At this moment, he felt satisfied with Lin Tianci. Naturally, the other members of the Lin family also echoed, and they all looked at Lin Tianci, the well-deserved protagonist in the hall, with fiery eyes. But speaking of it, the seal method used by Tianci today seems to be somewhat similar to the Qimen seal in my Lin family martial arts school. Lin Jintian suddenly thought of something, and changed his tone and said, however, the power of this seal is much greater than that of the Qimen seal. Lin Jintian's words immediately attracted the attention of others. They all looked at Lin Tianci curiously. Yeah. Lin Tianci had already been working on this, and there was no panic on his face. He nodded and said, Grandpa, our Lin family's Qimen seal is actually incomplete. I have a slight guess in my mind. Lin Jintian nodded. His face became a little strange. That day, when I saw Lin Dong performing the Qimen seal, I learned a little bit, and then I felt that the Qimen seal was too imperfect, so I improved it a little bit and adapted it. As soon as Lin Tianci finished speaking, the whole audience was petrified. Although the Qimen seal was a fragment, it was also a third-grade martial art. As a result, Lin Tianci learned it just by taking a look. If it was just that, it would be fine. But Lin Tianci could also deduce the seal method behind the Qimen seal and change it. This is much more difficult than creating a martial art on your own. Is this really a talent that a human can achieve? Everyone couldn't help but think this way, especially Lin Dong, who looked terrified at the moment. The stone talisman can do the seal deduction, and it can be improved to increase its power, but this stone talisman can't do it. Chapter 54. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The originally heated atmosphere in the entire hall became strangely quiet after Lin Tianci finished speaking. Everyone in the Lin family could even hear the faint breathing of the other person. After a long time, Lin Jintian's long sigh interrupted the somewhat silent atmosphere here. Before, I always heard others say that there was a genius somewhere, but I never had the chance to see him. Lin Jintian said, so I always don't take it seriously. No matter how great the genius is, he still needs to start from scratch like us. After meeting Lin Tianci today, I suddenly realized that genius really cannot be judged by common sense, or rather, our Lin family's Tianci has exceeded the category of genius. This is a monster, really, too monster. Lin Jintian's words made everyone nod their heads, especially the younger generations of the Lin family. Half a year ago, Lin Tianci was still the waste of the 4th level of body tempering that everyone looked down upon, but now he has directly reached the earth element realm and has become an existence that they need to look up to. Such a huge contrast made everyone feel powerless. They are afraid that they can only look up to him for the rest of their lives. Tianci is not only so evil in cultivation, but also in martial arts. Lincoln continued, not only can he create his own martial arts, but he can also learn other martial arts at a glance and perfect them. This is too. After a long pause, Lincoln continued, monster, only the word monster can describe Tianci. Even the most basic first-grade martial arts cannot be created easily. It requires extremely high martial arts attainments. What's more, the Qimen seal is not a first-grade martial arts, but a third-grade martial arts that can be achieved by relying on the fragments alone. Not to mention relying on the first move to deduce the next few moves, even if it is just perfect, there is no second person in the entire Qinyang town who can do it. But Lin Tianci is only 18 years old, and his cultivation has really made great progress in just half a year. Lin Jintian asked himself about this kind of thing. If someone told him that an 18-year-old youth had deduced and completed a third-grade martial arts, Lin Jintian would probably just think he heard a joke. Brother Tianci's strength is something I will never be able to catch up with in my lifetime. Lin Dong looked at Lin Tianci's profile and couldn't help thinking in his heart. He originally thought that when he reached the Earth Origin realm, he would be stronger than Lin Tianci, but his strength should be equal. But the naked reality seemed to hit him hard on the head. The more he reached the Earth Origin realm, the more he could feel how unfathomable Lin Tianci was. Even if he had a secret treasure like the stone talisman, he could only see Lin Tianci's back. Such a huge gap was a big blow to Lin Dong's heart. He couldn't help but sigh. But then, Lin Dong's ears echoed with the words that Lin Tianci said to him during the special training. With my current strength, I can't deal with Lin Langtian, let alone you, Lin Dong. If you don't work hard, you will never be able to avenge your father in this life. Lin Dong's eyes became firm in an instant. He has a stone talisman in his body, and there is also a role model like Brother Tianci, so he has to work harder. If nothing else, at least, he must defeat Lin Langtian in the Lin clan's clan competition. Looking at the exaggerated reactions of Lin Jintian, Lincoln and others, Lin Tianci naturally didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, everything should be done step by step. Creating a fourth-grade martial arts is probably the limit that Lin Jintian and others can accept now. If he directly takes out the Kaitian seal, wouldn't Lin Jintian and others faint directly from excitement? What's more, a man is innocent but guilty of possessing a treasure. With the current strength of the Lin family, even if there is a sixth-grade martial arts, it can't be kept. If it is accidentally spread out, I'm afraid it will really usher in a situation where the family is broken and the people are dead. The family's Qimen seal only has the first level, but the Qimen seal I perfected actually has 3 levels, and the power of the third level is quite powerful even among the fourth-grade martial arts. Lin Tianci said, if you grandpas are interested, then I will give you the remaining 2 seals. Anyway, it's useless for me to keep them, so I might as well use them to contribute to the family. Hearing this, Lin Jintian, Lincoln and the others all opened their mouths, and couldn't help but feel a dreamlike feeling in their hearts. Their Lin family, is this going to have another fourth-grade martial arts? You know, the only fourth-grade martial arts of the Lin family now was brought out by Lin Jintian in the Lin clan back then. After that, he worked hard in Qinyang town for most of his life, but he didn't get a fourth-grade martial arts. From this, we can see how scarce this fourth-grade martial arts is. But now Lin Tianci can easily take out one. It's really, as for the younger generation of the Lin family, after being surprised, they couldn't help but jump for joy. Their Lin family has another fourth-grade martial arts, which means that they have a little more choices. The other elders of the Lin family couldn't help but show a touch of excitement in their eyes, and then, the look they gave Lin Tianci became softer. After the discussion ended, Lin Jintian kept Lin Tianci and Lin Dong. Now, among the younger generations of our Lin family, Tianci and Donger have both entered the earthly origin realm. Lin Jintian spoke with satisfaction, looking at Lin Tianci and Lin Dong. Lin Dong's entry into the earthly origin realm was naturally a surprise to Lin Jintian, but after all, with Lin Tianci's success as a precedent, the news of Lin Dong's entry into the earthly origin realm did not cause much waves to everyone. It was because they were used to being shocked by Lin Tianci. Now that you have reached the earthly realm, it is time to give you this secret manual of martial arts. Lin Jintian carefully took out a booklet and said, even though this secret book is only a third-rate one, if you succeed in practicing it, the benefits to each of you will still be quite huge. Lin Tianci saw the title of the booklet, which read, Qin Yuan Gong, and immediately understood it. However, there is only one secret book with talismans engraved by the talisman master, so it cannot be copied. You two can only read it in turn. Lin Jintian said while looking at Lin Tianci. His meaning was very clear. He wanted Lin Tianci to practice the Qingyuan Gong first. Even Lin Dong said, then let brother Tianci go first, I'm not in a hurry. Although Lin Dong's heart was also a little hot, if the Qingyuan Gong was practiced by the stone talisman, it could open up several meridians. No, give it to Lin Dong.